My dad joined Starfleet because he believed in it. I joined on a dare.
You joined to see if you could live up to him. You spent all this time trying to be your dad. And now you're wondering what it means to be you.
We were overwhelmed by something we've never seen before. I know this isn't the last of my crew, but this is my last report as the captain of the Starship Enterprise.
I'm bracing for the pain and I am letting go. I gathered all my strength and I found myself. I hit a wall. I thought that I would hurt myself, but I hit a wall and I feel like but I hit a wall.
Let's make some noise.
I hit a wall. I hit a wall. I hit a wall. Hold on to something.
We had a blast making this film, as you can clearly see from that trailer.
I had a blast watching it. I did watch Star Trek.
Yeah.
I did watch it.
Oh, I believe you.
And I think, as I told you before, one of the things that I loved about it is it's a return to what great blockbuster filmmaking should be, which is fun and awe. The movies should be fun, they should be funny, and they should be filled with the awe of special effects, really well done special effects and action sequences with characters that you believe in. That sounds so easy, but so few movies actually accomplish that in a year, so congratulations.
Well, thank you. You know, we were really blessed. We had Justin Lin, who directed the Fast and the Furious movies, come in and direct this, and he's a long-term fan of Star Trek, so he really gets it, and it's all about character, and of course he infuses the film with this heart and this passion, and also this great action storytelling sensibility, and what you get is a really fun roller coaster ride.
Were you guys nervous losing JJ as a director going into this one? Was there any nerves at all, or was there still a hand that he was sort of playing over? I mean, Bad Robot is still affiliated.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, you know, all of us were a little bit nervous about the prospect of not having JJ at the helm, but I can't tell you enough how quickly Justin Lin won our hearts. He's the hardest working guy, and he gets Star Trek. He really does. And he would shoot this for 12 hours a day and then go back and edit it for 4 hours every night. I just don't know how he survived. He did a fantastic job.
So would he come back and show you guys stuff after editing? Would he kind of go edit for 4 hours and then the next day be like, check it out, look at some of the stuff that you guys are doing, you're killing it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a process like that. It was really, when he was on set, he was just concentrating on directing the picture. He's not, back on what he was doing last night. And of course we had Simon Pegg, who plays Scotty, write the film, which was kind of cool. It was kind of like one of the lunatics taking over the asylum. And he was a little bit nervous about how we would, receive this, but we will support him 100%. And
well, he's so clearly a fan, and that comes across in the writing. He wants to see every character having fun and getting to know each other, and the audience getting to know them as well, which is so important with Star Trek because it is so character-driven, and it's always been that way since the beginning. Unlike other big blockbuster franchises, people really remember the characters from Star Trek. They remember who Captain Kirk was, who Spock was. They remember your character, they remember them vividly, and that's so important when it comes to these movies.
Absolutely, and green girls.
Yes.
You got the green girls. That's to me, Star Trek has always been a cult of personality over science fiction. I think that's one of its enduring appeals. And, you tuned every week, to see how this diverse group of men and women, had to overcome their differences in order to, win the day. And, again, one of the things that Justin does so well is he really gets the heart of Star Trek.
Do you want to talk a little bit about where your character is in this edition of Star Trek?
Yeah, so my character, Leonard Bones McCoy, crash lands on an inhospitable planet with Spock. Spock is mortally wounded, and I have to keep him alive with no medical equipment. And together, the two of them have to evade capture and survive and depend on each other. And and all the while, the bickering continues. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of laughs.
One of the things that I like about Star Trek is that it feels like the cast actually gets along on and off screen. It's kind of a cliche thing to say. I think people say that all the time about every movie that comes out. Like, you guys seem like a family. But what I really like about the movie is not just the action. I like watching the actors play on screen. They're all very funny and look like they're having a very, very good time.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to J.J. Abrams. You know, I mean, he's done it so many times. He puts groups of people together who work really well, and he's definitely done it in this instance. And we've been making these movies for 9 years now, and we really have become like a family, and more so on this one than the previous two. We shot this on location in Vancouver, and so we all, got to hang out a lot more and get into lots of trouble, which I can't talk about here.
Can you go back to the beginning when J.J. Abrams cast all of you? Did it feel like he was trying to cast not just who was right for the part, but who would get along with each other on set and who would sort of grow into a good group? Because when you are making the first of the Star Trek movies, the intention is, first and foremost to tell a great story and entertain the audience, but there also is the intention that you're going to keep them going over the course of time. So you have to create people who would work well in a family.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the brilliance of JJ. He's done it time and time again. If you look at the Alias TV series, you look at Lost, to Star Trek, to Star Wars. It's what he's really good at, and he is one of the most smartest filmmakers that I've ever had the pleasure to work with. He can take an Achilles heel of a scene and turn it into his strength, and that's a rarity.
And I think you also see that all of the actors in Star Trek sort of have branched off to do really cool projects on their own as well. So there's an element of like a group of really cool people who are interested in telling Star Trek as a great story. You can kind of tell because they're trying to tell great stories outside of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're all, pretty blessed, that Star Trek has endured and is so popular. And, I think part of the reason for that is it presents a vision of humanity that is a positive one. It's a hopeful, optimistic vision of the future where mankind has moved beyond conflict and, people aren't persecuting each other for their race, for their religion, for their sexuality, and they're out there unified exploring space. And I think that is, it's a wonderful ideal to aspire to be like, and I think that's part of its enduring appeal.
And I have to say, as much as I love this trailer with the Rihanna song, I kind of like the trailer with Sabotage a little bit more, and I was surprised to see it make its way into the movie. That was incredible. Have you seen the movie yet?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
What did you think when the Sabotage sequence happens? Because it's so much fun. It's a great moment of like, I can't believe they're doing this, and this is incredible to watch.
Yeah, well, obviously it's a great callback to the first Star Trek movie that we did, and Simon and Doug found a way to inject it into our story and be part of the story. We don't just play it because we can. And I think when audiences see it, they'll dig it.
Do you think that your character is Bones is kind of the bones of the crew?
How do you mean?
He seems to be the one that's kind of keeping everybody together to a certain degree. Captain Kirk is on his sort of own emotional journey. Spock is on an emotional journey. You seem to be the one who's kind of the glue of the crew.
Oh, I like that. I'll take that, the glue of the crew. Yeah, let's hear it for that. Yeah, that's a good point. I really do. I think one of the things that I was, most pleased about with this fantastic script that Simon and Doug wrote was there was a great connective tissue for Bones in this, and in this movie, you really get to see his friendship with Kirk. It's not inferred, and you get to obviously develop this wonderful relationship with Spock, and the two of those characters are traditionally on opposite sides of the argument, and to just put them together and to give them a chance to have a very unguarded, honest conversation with each other is a rarity, and for long-term Star Trek fans, I think it's going to be pretty rewarding.
Are you protective of your character at this point? 3 movies in, they've just announced, I think, that there's going to be a 4th movie. Are you kind of protective of where your character goes? Do you want to have conversations with the writers about what they're thinking about doing with your character?
To tell you the truth, I haven't. I mean, the news just broke today that we're making a Star Trek 4, and
Congratulations!
how cool is that? Come on!
I have to say, and this is going to sound like I'm kissing ass a little bit, but it's a testament to how good this Star Trek is that before the movie's even been released, the studio was saying, we're going to make a fourth one because we're still doing really well with just making good movies.
Yeah, and they announced not only we're going to make a fourth one, Chris Hemsworth is going to be in it. 2 Kirks. I'm excited about that. Am I thinking about it? Have I thought about what that means for the character or the story? No, have not had time, but I'm excited.
Do you ever, would you ever get the script and sort of see it and be like, oh, I don't know if I would really see my character going on this journey. This doesn't feel organic for how my character has been the past 3 movies. Would you ever have a conversation like that? Or are you just like, I trust that we're just going to be fine and we always hire the right people to do the job?
Yeah, we know the fantastic thing about working with J.J. Abrams and Simon Pegg and obviously Justin Lin, although I don't know if he's coming back to direct the next one, is that there's an incredible brain trust there. They're a smart group, and I don't believe that they would do anything that is counter to the interests of further developing the characters at this point. And, if an audience responds to this movie, it'll, by the nature of Hollywood, they're going to want to give you more of what you like.
Absolutely. Were you a big Star Trek fan before going into making this?
Yeah, I watched it as a kid. I watched it with my son, who found it absolutely hilarious, the original series. Because if you look at it closely, instead of computer screens with computer-generated graphics, they have posters on the bridge of the Enterprise. Posters of star systems that they should check out. Very 60s, very cool.
If you seem like you were kind of a fan going into it, what did you think when you first joined the Star Trek family and you met Star Trek fans? You met the real fans.
Yeah, I think we're pretty blessed. If it wasn't for Star Trek fans, there would be no Star Trek. Star Trek fans lobbied hard to get the show picked up again for a 3rd season after it was cancelled in a 2nd. And they continued to, make its popularity well known to the studio right throughout the 70s, which led to, the Star Trek: The Motion Picture. So fans are awesome, man. Wouldn't be here without them.
Which captain do you stand by the most? Would you say Chris Pine as Captain Kirk?
As opposed to
the other captains?
Yeah, I'll go with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk.
You have another movie coming out in just a couple weeks as well, just a few weeks. Pete's Dragon.
Pete's Dragon, that's
directed by David Lowery,
David
who
Lowery,
did the beautiful Ain't Them Bodies Saints, sort of stepping it up and making a Disney Dragon movie here. That's incredible.
It is pretty amazing. I had a great time working with David. We shot this in my home country, New Zealand, and I got to work with Robert Redford.
That's amazing.
Which is pretty amazing. Yeah,
Shows you where my head goes.
Oh, yeah?
It shows you where my head goes. I'm like, you got to work with an independent filmmaker on this big movie. Like, no, I worked with Robert Redford. It was.
You do a scene with him and he smiles, and you have like 100 films flashing at your face. It's somewhat distracting. But he's a great guy. He really is. And when we were shooting it, he actually found an emaciated horse in a paddock on the way to work one day, and he and his great team rescued that horse, and he continues to subsidize its living today. So what a great guy.
Why hasn't Robert Redford ever run for politics? He just saves horses on the side of the street. It's incredible.
Right, he might be a good option. I'm not into politics, but could be a good option.
Yeah, maybe just one of the options that we could throw out there. Karl, I told you this in the green room. This is one of my favorite action movies of the last few years, Dredd.
Yes. Thank you.
Can you talk to me about getting that role, and also, as I told you in the green room, that great last line that you have in the movie that nobody would ever have the balls to do as a last line in an action movie, but you do it and it works, which is just...
Yeah. Wasn't scripted. Clearly. Look, you know what? That film was amazing to be a part of, and I'm continually blown away by the fact that, a couple of years after we've made that film, that there is a dialogue, a constant dialogue about it. People may have not discovered it while it was on in the theaters, but they certainly discovered it when it went onto home box office and DVD, and it's got a lot of love, and a lot of people would love to see another version of that, another sequel, and if the right collection of elements came together, I would love to be a part of making a worthwhile sequel to it, for sure.
It feels like an art film in many ways. When the first time I saw it, there's a lot of action in it and it's gory, but it feels a lot like an art film, which is very, very surprising. Were you aware of any of that sort of aesthetic while you were shooting it, or were you surprised by that when you saw the final product?
Yeah, no, very much so. That was the mandate. We didn't have. We didn't even have, $30 million to make that film, and so, when you are kind of restricted for the type of movie that it was, which was this sort of, dystopian sci-fi action film, it forces you to be inventive, and we were very much aware that we had a sort of an art house sensibility that we're trying to tack on to a comic book genre. But I'm pretty proud of that. I think it turned out particularly well.
Oh, you should be absolutely proud of that. It's a great, great action movie. I'm going to open up to the audience for questions. Does anyone have any questions out there?
I have two questions for you. How do you go about selecting your roles? And to mention your previous works, is there any possibility that you could come back to roles such as Black Hat and Priest, Dredd, and Almost Human? Because I love that show and the chemistry.
Thank you. How do I go about selecting my roles? It's really, just if I read a piece of material and start to get invested in it and invested in the characters, then that is generally something that I'd like to do. As to, revisiting roles, it would depend on the role. I mean, sometimes it's something you're happy to go back and visit again, other times not. Again, it's down to audience demand, and if there's a demand to see something, then it's my job to entertain. I'd like to make more, particularly more of Dredd, for sure.
Next question.
Hey Karl, thank you for being here. Did you encounter similar challenges filming Star Trek versus Peace Dragon?
Yeah, different set of challenges. Star Trek, one of the most challenging aspects of it was to perfect the perfect dub smash. This cast spent a lot of time and energy in a dub smash hole. While we were waiting to go on set, that is what we would be doing. And if you go on various Twitter accounts and stuff, you'll see them. We're very serious about it. I had a blast working on Pete's. Again, we shot that down in New Zealand and working with David Lowery and Robert Redford and this young kid, Oakes. I mean, when you see this film, you'll be blown away. And Pete's, it has this wonderful kind of 70s family feel about it, and I haven't quite seen anything like that in recent years. So, definitely worth checking it out.
Oh, that's cool. So it's kind of like a mixture of like a Disney special effects movie with like a breaking in or something, like a 1970s sort of like, yeah.
There's kind of a slight retro vibe to it, and it's got a lot of heart, and it's fun.
I love that. Next question.
Hey Karl, so in the trailer it looks like there's a lot of like energy and like action in the film. Has there been a conscious effort to like ramp up the energies, like since Star Trek was sort of known for being like maybe a little more intellectual and maybe a little boring in the TV shows?
That's a great question. Well, I guess Justin came in, and as I said before, he was a fan of Star Trek, and he really got its heart, he got its character, and he was able to really, I think, build upon what JJ had established in the first two films, but then also kind of infuse it, with Simon's writing. I mean, he wrote a really funny script with a lot of heart, and it's certainly, I think, it's a different kind of film to some of the Star Trek films that have been in the past. But I think that it's important in the 50th year to continue to offer audiences something new, and that's what this film strives and succeeds in doing.
A lot of the film is a two-hander between you and Zachary Quinto as Spock. Do you, in the upcoming movies, do you hope that is there another character that you're excited to sort of do a two-hander with? Is there anyone that you haven't spent as much time with as an actor that's in the Star Trek movies?
I would actually like to spend some more time, or I haven't spent much time with Scotty. I think that'd be cool, and I would also like to see a bit more of the traditional triumvirate between, Kirk, Spock, and Bones. And really that was kind of the heart of the original series in many ways. I mean, all the characters, really were the heart of it. But from the majority of the episodes, it was Spock's intellectual, logical, scientific mind versus McCoy's passionate, altruistic, caring, kind of emotional perspective. And then Kirk was the action, and he was the one that would take the best of both of those arguments and make a decision.
Next question. I think we only have time for one more.
Hey, Karl. I'm such a huge fan. Since you worked in so many sci-fi fantasy films, is there like a particular genre that you want to work on, next?
Yes, I'd love to do a sci-fi fantasy film. No, you know what? I don't know. I don't have anything, in particular that I'd like to do. I would like to do something different than what I've just done. But perhaps I'm looking for a good indie film to do, just something that's, preferably Earth-based, not wielding a sword, not fighting dragons. Yeah, so who knows?
A lot of the film is a human comedy. Do you guys change jokes on set? Are you guys riffing or trying other jokes? Have other comedy writers on set while you're making the movie?
Yeah, well, the good thing about this, obviously, Simon was on set 100% of the time and was always open to any ideas and suggestions. And in fact, he emailed the entire cast as we were going into it, saying, look, if you guys have any ideas, let me know, and keep them to yourself. No, he didn't. He was very inclusive. He was very inclusive, and it's great. I mean, I can look at that film and see not only scenes, but various lines of dialogue that came either out of the moment, improvisation, or just collaboration with Simon and Doug.
Absolutely, it feels that way. As I said, it feels like no other blockbuster this year. Really fun, and like a family of people made it and had a good time doing it. It opens this Friday, right?
This Friday, go check it out. Star Trek Beyond in theaters this Friday.
Star Trek, right?
Star Trek.
Star Trek, right?
In theaters this Friday.
Karl, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you very much. All right, take care.